What you're looking at right now is a picture of the core regular show characters that make up the park gang. They're having an awesome time together, but here's the thing. One of them won't make it to the very end. Although Mordecai and Rigby are the absolute stars, the two characters we follow most, that doesn't mean the others are insignificant. These members working at the park have appeared in more episodes than you can count, and they have just as much impact on the series as our two heroes. So now, let's get back to this picture. Who bites the dust? Well, I'll give you a hint. He has a big head, he likes lollipops, and his name rhymes with chops. Yeah, it's Pops, obviously. But the point isn't just that he's gone, there's so much more to this. The death of Pops changed everything, not just in regular show, but the animation landscape on Cartoon Network. In order to understand just how much of an impact this had, we'll need to take an in-depth look at this character, his importance in the world of regular show, and what exactly his death means. It's probably best to start with the very beginning. I don't mean the first episode, because we have to go back even further to a student film from series creator J.G. Quintel. Welcome to the naive man from Lollyland, also known as Pops' very first appearance. While the short film is common knowledge at this point, one key detail is still worth knowing. This is the very first gateway into the incredible world of regular show, and it all started with the naive man from Lollyland himself.
One root beer and butterscotch ripple. Young man, the sum I have left here is ample. It's more than enough to take care of the bill, and with a substantial amount left over for yourself, I might add.
In this 2005 short, he remains carefree and innocent as you'd expect of him. He takes on many of the personality traits that would follow him to his Cartoon Network adventures just a few years later. There were a few things changed about his background, but ultimately, this was Pops. Why is it so important that JG's world began with Lollyland's magical man? We'll get back to this soon, don't worry. Let's fast forward a bit to the actual regular show series and the role that Pops played. From the start, you could tell that every single episode was a wild ride. It was pretty much impossible to tell what came next in terms of storylines, and that's what made this anything but regular. At its heart of these wacky stories are the well-written and surprisingly developed characters who move everything forward. Each of them brings something completely new to the table. Mordecai's usually a chill dude, but of course he's not afraid to call people out when they make him mad. Rigby is his best friend, always willing to go along with escapades and do whatever it takes to have a fun time. Benson is in charge of these two, and while always yelling, he still has a soft spot for them and is genuinely just a normal guy trying to watch his park succeed. Muscle Man cracks jokes and laughs with High Five Ghost, like he's the comic relief. You get the idea. Each and every character in this bunch has their own completely different way of life, but they mix and match with each other pretty well. You can place them in any given situation, and they'd interact in a funny or meaningful way. But after seeing the characters and this nonsensical world come to life, how exactly does Pops contribute? What is the reason for this guy's existence? Well, I think it's the innocence. With regular show getting chaotic in just about every episode, it's really hard to take a breather and relax. Pops is the nice guy. No matter how loud or weird things get, he's always willing to help out. It doesn't matter what kind of problem any of the other characters get themselves in, since you can always count on Pops to lighten the mood. He's a great guy. But of course, anyone who's seen most regular show episodes would realize that Pops isn't just any normal dude. Over the course of the final few seasons especially, he began to develop into something more. His personality and innocence stayed consistent, but we learned more about his past and how he's much more magical than anyone would have expected. As a kid, he would look through his telescope to see an exciting pink planet without actually knowing that was his home of Lollyland. It was a hint for things to come and all the powers he didn't know he had. In the final season, as the gang goes to space, we learn much more about the secret lore hidden within regular show. Turns out that Pops has a secret evil brother named Anti-Pops, and they are both the entire reason the universe exists at all. Everything is merely here as a battlegrounds between them. But okay, this is getting kinda ridiculous, right? I mean, he's supposed to be just a gentlemanly lollipop friend. Well, this began to reveal just how important his role was throughout regular show. Pops is literally the center of the entire universe, so it's safe to say that he's not just a normal supporting character. Now, he plays a role far bigger than how he first appeared, but what happens next? How exactly does he die, and why does it have such an impact? Well, the entire series basically culminates into this one big battle for the universe. Pops versus Anti-Pops! He's struggling to remain calm calm, and rightfully so. He's fighting for all of his friends against an evil force that will never stop until the end of the entire universe. In a regular epic final battle, when it was actually time for the fight to start, Pops would constantly bring up a single argument to his anti-counterpart. It didn't have to end like this. But why did he say that? Why doesn't he want to fight? Because it completely aligns with everything we've learned about him up until this point. In all of his appearances throughout the series, he's happy and cares for his friends more than they know. He doesn't like all the absolute chaos and destruction in the world, which explains why he didn't want to face off against Anti-Pops.
If Anti-Pops wins tomorrow, everything will be erased. And I don't care what happens to me, but I don't want any of you to get hurt. You're my best friends.
In the last few minutes of the fight, everyone we ever knew is erased, except for Mordecai and Rigby. Pops just wants things to return to normal, so he flies through space and does whatever he can to achieve victory, not for himself, but for those he cares about. During this time, he crashes into the naive man from Lollyland.
I say, we're the handsome chap in the newspaper, don't you think? Is that me? Hello? Hello?
Remember earlier in the video when I said this would be important later? Yeah, this is it. The 2005 short is intentionally placed here not only to show us how far he's come over the years, but to understand that Pops is an essential character to the entire universe. If we look back in time, the naive man from Lollyland caused a chain reaction. It was what led to 2 in the AM PM, and then that led to JG pitching a show on Cartoon Network. Looking at things this way, regular show might not even exist if this short hadn't happened, hence why it appears towards the final moments of Pops' life. Anyway, in order to save the universe, he realizes that he still doesn't want to fight. Instead, as Mordecai and Rigby watch in despair, Pops spreads out his arms, giving his evil brother a big ol' hug, with both of them launching towards the sun, but Pops makes it clear that this is a happy ending. Knowing just how innocent he is, it only makes sense that this is how the battle ends.
All those one-star reviews, I wish I could take it all back.
You can try. You and I together, brother.
No matter what, Pop stayed completely true to his character, willing to sacrifice himself for the good of others. What follows is an emotional montage of the aftermath. Pops is gone from this world, but his sacrifice is what allows everyone to move forward. The Park Dome finally returns from space, and everyone's cheering that their loved ones made it back. It's really happy, but at the same time, the death of Pops is clearly on everyone's minds. We get this shot of the sun rising on a brand new day, then a statue of the legend himself. His death happened because of the sun, and this is meant to reflect that. He chased butterflies. He loved to laugh. He saved the universe. He was our friend. You'll notice that saving the universe is just placed in there like it was anything else normal, but what really matters is the line about being a friend. Like I said before, he was the innocence in this group of main characters, and his absence darkens the mood. But no matter what, life needs to continue. We get to see Mordecai take on a new hobby of painting. We see Rigby's future family with Eileen. The characters develop over the next 25 years, but while their situations change, there's still one thing on everyone's minds: the sacrifice that Pops made. Even so many years later, they remember him for everything he was: innocent, carefree, and full of life. Mordecai and Rigby remember that Pops is the only reason the others could have all this, and the only reason they can happily live their lives. Then, the very final shot of the regular show franchise on TV is in the peacefulness of heaven with butterflies everywhere. We don't actually get to see Pops again, but he says, "Jolly good show." Why is this worth mentioning? Well, think about it. Regular show as we truly know it began with a naive man from Lollyland. Fast forward 12 years later to a regular epic final battle, and the absolute last moment is with our butterfly-loving gentleman. Regular show begins and ends with Pops. In January 2017, there was a live screening of the series finale, featuring a special Q&A session with JG. A review writer who attended had talked about this online. Though Pops tells Mordecai and Rigby that the ending is happy, it's still bittersweet at best. Why did Pops have to die, was my first question during the panel, and Quintel described his sacrifice as a way of symbolizing the sadness and loss that comes with the sort of maturity the rest of the characters have finally attained. Sometime after Rigby's graduation, the regular show gang is still ready to move on. The impetus for the series' real ending. Mordecai and Rigby couldn't keep up their immature behavior forever. They had to grow up at some point in time. The death of Pops helped in recognizing that very idea. Nothing lasts forever. Of course, when we're talking about Pops' sacrifice, we have to realize that this was unprecedented. Regular show is the kind of cartoon people of all ages would have fun watching, including younger audiences. It seems like the trend in these kinds of shows is to keep everyone alive, at least the good guys. Death is usually mentioned or sometimes even happens in kids' cartoons, but it's almost always a grandparent or a villain. Regular Show had guts. It went through with a major death. Not just a side character, not just a normal bad guy, but one of the main park gang members. Just like we've seen, Pops has been here since the very beginning, and killing him off was probably the most impactful death that could have happened in the series. I'm not saying I'm okay with Pops dying because it's sad, but that very emotional tie to the series finale is what sets Regular Show apart from everything else. When thinking about final episodes of cartoons, this one had more of an impact on me than so many others. Let's take a brief look at Adventure Time. Adventure Time wasn't afraid of death. No, not at all. Some characters who kicked the bucket meant more than others, but for the most part, these didn't leave a real emotional impact on me months after they happened. In the series finale, pretty much all the main characters get out alive and don't face many consequences for what happened before. Happy endings are fun and all, but it felt like there should have just been more than there really was. Steven Universe followed a similar path. I had a good time watching Change Your Mind because it was the epic final fight events we're building up to, but things ended how you'd expect, without any real losses to achieve the victory. In Steven Universe Future, there's a moment where Jasper gets shattered. It's mind-blowing, something you don't expect, and emotionally draining. But in no time at all, she's revived like nothing ever happened. Now listen, I'm not saying a major character has to die to make things a good story, but I do believe that it leaves much more of an impact than if life moved on in a happily ever after kind of way.
Don't worry, Mordecai and Rigby. I know you're sad, but I promise this is a happy ending. Take care of each other. Goodbye.
Watching Pop sacrifice himself felt like it went completely against the norm of these kinds of cartoons, and that's what really made it stand out from the rest. So overall, it's safe to say that the death of Pops is what changed everything. It was the sadness that comes with moving forward in life. Let's not forget about Pops. I don't know about you guys, but I'm paying my respects to this legend. He truly was a naive, but brave man from Lollyland. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.